Let's dive into Cricut Design Space. Hi, and welcome back to my craft room. My name is Kelsey. I also call myself Dinosaur Mama, and today we are doing a full tour of Cricut Design Space with Cricut Access in May of 2024. So in this tutorial, if you are new to Cricut or if you are, let's say even you've been using it for a while, but you are not sure of some of the features, we're gonna go through every feature Cricut has. I wanna say I hit at least 97.2% of the features that they have. And we are going to show you, I am going to show you what each feature does. Now there is a new feature in Cricut Design Space called layering that will take a picture and turn it into a layered SVG. I don't dive a ton into that just yet because I'm going to do a separate video on that very soon. That is an access feature, so you will have to pay for it, but there are plenty of ways to make layered SVGs outside of Cricut Design Space that I will have linked below, and that will show you there are different websites as well as you could create your own in Inkscape or Silhouette Studio. So if you're new to my craft room, I'll have a bunch of links below, one over to my blog that has over 800 free SVG files and all different sort of craft tutorials. And if you're new here, welcome. Hit subscribe, join along on all of my craft tutorials. I appreciate you being here and crafting with me. So let's get started on our deep dive into Cricut Design Space. So I'm gonna go through the basics of Cricut Design Space. I wanna keep this tutorial kind of short and to the point. Just if you are starting out, I think that this would be a great starting point, and I'll show you some little tips and tricks along the way with all the different features. But if you are new and you don't know where to start, this is a great place. So the first thing I'm going to do, and some people might be shocked by this, but I'm going to start my free trial for Cricut Access, and I am 99.999% sure I'm going to cancel it. And that's because I like to make my own designs, or I use Silhouette Studio to create things, and so I am going to do it. So you see it here. I am going to just do this just in case I do forget to cancel. All right, so I signed up for Cricut Access, and now I'm just going to hit start making. So now we will have everything in Cricut Design Space. So the first thing you're going to do, this is your home page. I went to the canvas, but now I'm going to go back. So right here, you can look at different projects that they have, free SVGs that they have. I guess I purchased this at some point. I don't know when I did that. But whatever. And here are more projects, cards for Mother's Day. So they do have a lot of stuff, new fonts that they have. These are included in Access, so they would be free for me. So it'll tell you the little green ribbon up here. That does mean it's included in Access. So if I went and hit Add to Canvas, it wouldn't charge me the 99 cents. It would only charge me the 99 cents if I don't have Cricut Access. So here are all these different like Taylor Swift kind of stuff going on that they have. You know, they don't say that, but that's what they're going for. And so they have a bunch of stuff that you can work through here. So grads, if you just want some projects that you can basically set up and cut, this is no designing here. All right, so now from here, you can go to Inspire on the side. Again, this is more stuff, flowers, search through. You can also search up top, projects, images, and community projects. This is where all of your uploads are going to be. So you see, like, I have stuff from Creative Fabrica. I have stuff that I've created. So these are going to be all of your projects. Any bookmark projects, that means like in theirs. So let's go over to Ready to Make here. If I bookmarked this here and went back, now it's here, and you can unbookmark as well. Now, if you go to all, this is going to be a mix of all the stuff that I've ever made, which is so funny. Like this I made when I hit 10,000 followers on Instagram. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. I tried to make a 3D Disney castle. So see, I do test a lot of stuff. So that's what all of this is. So it's everything that you've ever made. So now we're back at projects, and then you have images, again, bookmarked images, uploaded images, purchased, which I don't think I purchased these, but you know what? Sure. And then collections, let's go over to projects again and go to Ready to Make. I can go like this and add to a collection, and then you would create a new collection, and I would just put baby, create, add, and now I have a collection of baby projects. So that's how that is set up. This right here is getting started to your first projects. If you're new, great place to start. It's going to teach you how to do all these different things. Amazing. If you hit heat guide, it's going to pop you off to the internet and it's going to open the web page, and then you can choose which heat press. If you have a Cricut heat press, what settings you need. So for example, if I was doing iron on with my Easy Press 2 onto felt, it will tell me what temperature I need to do in Fahrenheit and also how long, firm pressure, and it also tells you when to remove your liner. So that's pretty cool. Again, if you drop down to shop, it's going to kick you off to the internet, and of course it's going to be the Cricut shop. That makes sense. So that is all the basics on the home page. So I'm going to go back to discover. You can also hit a back button. So it's kind of like it's a web browser, but not really. And now I want to go here up to the top and go to your drop down. It's going to have your name and email. My shared projects. I've never shared a project. I joined in June of 2020. I don't have a profile picture. And then your notifications are going to be here. There are none right now. You can always change that in your settings. Let's go over to our settings. So if you go to settings, this is going to be a pop-up. It basically took us over to the canvas, which I will show you how to get there without doing this. Here's our general setup. I am in the United States. I do speak English. I use cloud and computer. You can use cloud only, but no matter what, when you're working with Cricut Design Space, you are not going to be able to save to your computer technically. So you have to be able to work online. Here is my thing with application experience. Beta, I'm showing a live demonstration today. Beta is going to be when they release a new feature. It's going to come out in beta first. So beta is basically their testing setup. I don't like to work in beta, and that's because about a year, maybe a year and a half ago, I transferred over to beta and it was a complete disaster for me. So I like to work in live, but if there is a beta version coming up, maybe I'll do a new tutorial on it and see what the differences are. Here's your subscription. You saw I just subscribed to Cricut Access, so it renews on the 5th, but I'm gonna cancel. And here are the updates. You can always check for updates here. Let's check for an update. Nothing's available. And then this is gonna tell you what they just fixed in the last release. So a lot of bug fixes, and we'll go over the layers today. So let me go back into settings. Next is your machines. So this is where you're going to go if you have a new machine that you're setting up. So say you got a second machine, update your firmware. This is going to update the machine software, like in the machine, not on your computer. I will not do that today, but I could do that in a future video if you are interested. This is going to be where you do your calibration. So for example, if I went to my maker and hit start, I have 3 different calibrations that I can choose from. But if I go back in and I go to calibration for my Explore and I hit start, it's only going to do the printing cut because there are no other blades for that machine. Machine care is only available for the Venture, so I'm not sure what that is. I apologize. Custom material settings we will get into in a little bit. I think that's better if we go later on and do that. And then cartridges, or if you have a really old original Cricut that used to work off of cartridges and not off of Design Space. And so here you can link those cartridges into your new Cricut. All right, your canvas, full grid, partial grid, no grid. That will change your grid on the canvas. So full grid is where it has the lines. I think you can see that in the back. Partial grid is like this, which is what I work off. And then no grid means no lines. I work in imperial, but you can work in metric. Okay, so operation type. Now that I have something on the canvas, this is easy to see. Operation type, you see right over here, it says heart. If I click no, it takes that away. It doesn't tell you how it's cutting. So I keep mine on, which is a good thing. And now I know what it means too, so we're learning together. Your load type. Now this is for Cricut Maker defaults, okay? My load type, I like to work on 12 by 12 mats. That's what it is. Here, you can also pick none or 12 by 24 or card. My print and cut size, which you can change, is 8.5 by 11 I could, I guess, technically do A4 and legal, but my printer will not print tabloid or A3. So you have to have a specific printer for that. My notifications, I have them all off because I don't want notifications from Cricut, but you can do you, and you can toggle these on. I just keep all mine off. Last is the system. This is just going to be basic information about what it's using up on your system. So that is all of the stuff in settings. Help is obviously going to pop you off to the internet, and it's going to be questions, how to reach them, all of those things. Your account, again, pops you offline, trying to sign in. This is all of your stuff. So all of your account history. So your order history, what you've ordered, your subscription, and you can cancel it here. Payment settings. I quite literally don't know what this is. It looks like fonts to me. Here are my registered products and when I registered them. Oh, we're coming up on our 4-year anniversary of my maker. And then your email preferences. So I'm not going to show you all of this, but it's going to tell you, you can change all of your email preferences. The last thing in the dropout is just a sign out, which I'm not going to do. So now I want to show you how to get to the canvas from the home page. So here we are. Nope. We are going to go back to Discover. So this is what it's going to look like when you open up your Cricut. And let's hit new project up in the top right. So now we're going to go through some basic stuff on here. And it's going to be as in-depth as I can make it. But again, I don't want you to have to sit here for 2 hours listening to me talk. And I want to mention that if you have multiple machines, you can click here and this is how you're going to change between those machines. You can run 2 machines if you have 2 windows open. First thing we're going to click on is templates over on the side. We're going to start over here. This is a template so that you can design on it. This is not going to cut. So if you are, for example, working with a candle and you hit candles, it's going to give you a candle to work with. Now, you cannot move it, which I'm not going to lie is pretty annoying, but here you go. Wide candle, size, custom. You can change your sizing. And here's my color. Let's say I have a pink candle. I really hate that you can't move it on your grid, but you can't. But here, so right, let's say my candle is 3 by 4. You can also unlock. Unlock is how you're going to make it so you can do whatever you'd like. Let's do 3 by 5. I don't know why it keeps changing it. I guess that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And then let's say you wanted to add text for Mother's Day. And now you can play around with sizing and all of that. So templates are actually great to work with. I don't usually use them, but there are lots and lots and lots of templates here to work with. So that is a template. And now I'm just going to do a new canvas. If you want a new canvas, you hit new. I'm going to hit replace because we're not going to be making a candle. Next down is going to be projects again. This is going to show you all the projects that they have. If you see someone's name here, this means that they have shared this. This is their project that they're sharing with the Cricut community, which is really, really nice. You can also follow people, which is awesome. So you could go into somebody's profile and see she has a lot of likes and followers. That's amazing. And you can follow the crafter. So, and here's all the projects that she shares. That's really awesome. So that is one way to do that, and also to learn about new crafts that you can find. Now back over on our side panel, you have shapes. Now I have subscribed. Usually I don't have this available, but these are all your basic shapes, and you can of course search for more. For example, a dog wearing sunglasses, but you see from shapes, it dropped me down to images. So shapes are going to be basic right here. And I actually have these all for free on my website. If you want them, I will link them down below. So if you don't want to pay for a subscription like me, I do have all of these for free on my website because they're basic shapes. They should be free, in my opinion. Now down to images. Again, I have access now, so these are not, I don't have to pay for these. I believe that the only ones that you'd have to pay for are licensed content outside of access. Yeah, so this is your Disney images, right? They only have 11 Disney images? Oh. I had layers for some reason. I thought they would have more. Marvel, Sesame Street. So all of these are available, but you do have to purchase these separately. So like this is a print and cut image right here. So that's how you go through these. And of course you can search through any of your images. So for example, a dog wearing sunglasses. I will laugh so hard if they don't have anything for this, but they do. So you can click on this, right, and add it to your canvas down at the bottom. And this is a layered design. As you can see, all the different layers. So you can actually go in and change colors up here. So if I just wanted one here, one green, and that's how you change colors. Now, this image is grouped together, so you can size it if you have it clicked on the group, right? You can size it in the corner. You can also size it up top. But if you wanted, let's say, for example, to work with just one piece, you can just click on the one piece and size it. But you can also ungroup here so that now all the pieces are separate. And then you can regroup certain pieces together and all of that. So that is how you add an image to your canvas. And we will work more with an image in a little bit. Next down is your text. To change your text, you click right here on your font. And this changes only when you're in a text box. So when you're in your text box, here's your font. You have all these fonts to choose from. Again, I don't understand why it says how much it costs, but then you have access. And I do need to put a disclaimer in here that if you have access and then you cancel access, you do lose those designs on your Cricut profile. They will make you go back and pay for just the individual design. It doesn't count that you used it while you were paying. I hope that makes sense. Now, if you downloaded your own designs, they'll be under System up here. And again, you can bookmark favorite fonts and they will show up here. And then recent fonts will show up over here. I use pretty much the same fonts over and over again. So that's how you change the font. So I'm going to change it to one of my fonts that I have. My favorite font is called Chicken. So I will change it. You can also search for your font here, Chicken, and it will pop up. There it is. Right. So here is my font, Chicken. And now here you can have regular. So this will change if, for example, your font has a bold or an italic version. That's where style will change. Your font size is obviously going to be how big the font is. Okay. You can also change your size here. It'll do the same thing. And then letter spacing is going to be how far apart they are, right? And that's really helpful for when you have text that is connected like this, and I'll get into that in a second. Line spacing is if you have two lines. So I go text 1, text 2. Line spacing, if you go negative, is going to go closer to each other, and if you're positive, it will go, if you're positive, it will go further away from each other. So that is what line text is, or line spacing is. Your alignment is going to be, again, let me put that other text back, is going to be center, left, which doesn't really show very much with this text in general. Bottom. Alignment is just going to be where your text is. I hope that makes sense. Now, curve is going to be only available for one line, and that curves your text, which is very nice. I actually do really like that feature. And then advanced is going to be if you want to ungroup to letters, or you can ungroup to lines. So ungroup to letters makes each letter its own unique thing. Okay. And then if you have two lines, right? There we go. And you go ungroup to lines, it makes each line its own. It makes each line its own piece. So that is how that works. Now, right now we are in basic cut up top. If you have, I'm in my maker, so your drop down might look different if you have an Explorer, Avenger, a Joy, okay? This is where you can change all your different stuff. Wavy cut, perforated cut. This depends on your blades, your pens. Now, text that looks like this is going to be an outline. There are free fonts, and I'll have them linked below, that are writing fonts, and Cricut has writing fonts as well. So if you go to this right here, right? I'm sorry, if you go over to your filter bar, you can go to writing, And now it's going to give you, well, it should have given you some writing. So it says writing right here, writing right here. And now if we look, it's a writing font now. So our pen will write it. Now I have some free writing fonts where I go in here and I look like lovely monoline. It is, see, there's still an outline, but if you make it smaller, it basically turns into a writing font. So I do have those available, and I will put that linked below. Then you also have your foiling tool, which you'll have to pick which one you're using. Your scoring tool, stylus, deboss, and engrave. So these are all different blades. Then of course you have print then cut and a guide. Now guide means that it's literally just a guide. It's not going to cut. So these are great to use if you're doing like engraving. So for example, if I wanted to engrave this onto a circle, I can make this bigger. I can change this to guide and then place this right in the center, right? Align center. Then when I go to hit make, okay, it's not there anymore. It's just a guide. It's just to show you where to place. Think of it kind of like a template. It's like a DIY template. Now, when you're in basic cut, right, you're also going to have the option to change colors. Also the same for pens. You can change your colors here. You can also change the type of pen. There's so much in Cricut Design Space. I guess I never really realized how much there is. Okay, so if there's nothing to change, it will basically say nothing to change. But see here, gold, here's all your different foil colors. But these are not going to have colors on them. Okay. Deselect, if I'm going to be honest, I don't really understand why that's deselect comes up, but select all would be if you have multiple pieces, right? So if I go here and I hit select all, it'll grab both for us. Now edit, copy, paste, cut, duplicate, delete, and you also have shortcuts over here. I use a lot of shortcuts, so that's probably why you see me just kind of things going away and changing. I use a lot of shortcuts. Now when you have two things highlighted, you'll be able to align here as well. I know we aligned in the text, but you can also align here. So for example, center. And then if you have more than these, right, so I'm going to duplicate, and then if I grab all of these, you'll be able to also distribute vertically, and you can distribute horizontally. So that'll make everything even spaced between. Now I'm just going to go back into basic cut here. This will flip your text, flip your whatever you want to call it. Okay. Offset is one of my most used features. I love offset, and this makes an outline around the whole image or text evenly, and you can change it to sharp edges or rounded edges and then weld your offsets or not. So see, it's individual letters and then welding. So if you're working in offset, I want to show you, if you're close like this at this size, right, we hit apply, that's going to be your offset. Now if I take the same text and I duplicate it, again, I use my shortcut, but you can also right click, or you can go to edit up top and duplicate there. And let's say we make it bigger. Let's say we make it 10. And I do that same offset. See, I'm not going to touch anything. I'm just going to hit apply. And then I bring it back down to the same size. Let's see, 4.79. It's going to be a thinner, closer offset. So the bigger your project is, the closer an offset you can get. It is going to make a difference, okay? Now, you can also inset on things, which it's really hard to see on this. So let me grab a shape. That way we can really show you. I can really show you. Now when you go inset, that's going to make an offset, but on the inside. I don't know how else to say that. It's going to make an insert. That's a better word. So that is what inset is as well. So now I want to show you, let's go into images. I'm going to grab this corgi. I'm going to add it to the canvas. Now this is a layered image, but I want to show you the create a sticker. So we can hit create sticker, and this is in beta still. I thought it was definitely live by now, but that's okay. And you can do a die cut sticker, and then it's going to just prompt you how to make it. So if I want to do a standard border, I'm going to do it in white. You can also do any other color, which is pretty cool, right? Now I need to get back to my white, which I'm just going to change it here. Then cut interior shapes are going to be to cut the inside stuff. So you can turn that on and off, and then you just hit apply. And now you have a sticker. So there is that. Right. And if you want to do create a sticker kiss cut, this is going to just be It cuts through the material, but it leaves the backing. So if you wanted to do like a sticker sheet, you can do that here. So again, die cut edge, this is going to give you 2 cuts basically. And then cut interior shapes are going to be cutting all of that stuff. Okay. Now, if you wanted to make this and by all that stuff, I mean all of these little pieces right here on the side. Now, if you wanted to make it a print then cut image, you would hit flatten down here at the bottom, and we'll get into that in a second. And you can always unflatten as well. Now, warp, again, is a Cricut access only, and you can warp your images. You can't do individual things, but you can warp all your stuff. This is mostly used for text, but it is funny to see on the Corgi, so I'm just going to keep doing it. Now, I could just do undo warp, and there it's back to normal. So those are all preset things here in warp. Okay, sizing is exactly what it is. I mean, I don't really need to get into that. That's how you size. And then if you unlock, you'll be able to change just one side of it. Okay, so just be careful when you're working to have it locked or unlocked. Rotate is exactly that. It's going to rotate your image. And you can do that by degree. You can also rotate here on the canvas, and you can also resize on the canvas just by clicking on these corners, okay? This is literally just to position it on your canvas. I've never used this in my life, but it'll move it around the canvas. Okay, so there is that. So down here in the corner, this is gonna be your zoom for your in and out in your canvas, and I wish eventually they would make it so you can pinch and unpinch, but that's not the case yet. So here's our Corgi. If you did rotate, you can always just hit it back to 0. Now let's get into, again, you have your basic cuts here that you can change all that. I showed you already how to change color over on the side. Now let's get into what all of these are down here, and then we're pretty much done on our panel. So starting actually up here, we're gonna go ungroup, and that goes from grouping it to ungrouping it. And now if you click on this, right, you can also right click. You can rename it. So I could say Corgi, okay? And then you have everything here. This is also duplicate right here. We have duplicate in lots of places, and then also delete up top. Now, I'm going to ungroup this just so we can work with some of these things down here. So you know what? I think it's best that we don't work with the Corgi on this, honestly. So let's grab a circle and a heart. Whoops. And a heart, because I feel like this is the easiest way to show these. Okay, and I am going to grab a different color for each of these. Let's do red and blue, that way we really can see them. Okay, so we're going to start with slice. Slice is going to give you a bunch of pieces when you hit slice. It's going to give you this cutout, the 2 overlapping cutouts, and the original. So it gives you 4 pieces. So that is your slice. I use slice a lot. I use it more than the ones here in combine. Combine, you're going to have weld, which will take 2 images or text and make it into one. If you have a text like chicken, like lovely monoline, that is a basic cut. We'll go back into this scripty font, okay? All of these letters, I'm going to zoom in really close so you can see it, are separate. So your Cricut machine is going to cut those individually. So what you have to do is you actually have to weld these. So it will go, let me see if I can zoom in a little more. Maybe it'll be better, easier to see in a different, there we go. So you see the line here and the line here, that means it's gonna cut there. And you don't want that if you're making a decal. So you are going to have to weld this and see how those lines are gone. And now this is one piece, okay? So weld will take 2 things and make it into one. Weld is not undoable. If you get further into your project, you won't be able to undo. You can only undo it immediately. So if you do that, I use Command Z to undo. Our next thing in our combine features, okay, are going to be unite, which is just like weld, but it keeps them separate over on the side. So these are editable. After unite, you have subtract. Again, it has the drop down, which means that it's editable. So here's my heart. And if it depends on which one's on top, that will subtract. Okay. So I hope that makes sense. And again, it's editable. Next, we have intersect, which is going to only keep the middle. And this one doesn't matter which one's on top because it's going to be the same either way. After that, we can do undo, intersect. You have exclude. And again, they're separate. Again, it doesn't matter which one's on top because it's the same, but you can move one piece around. Okay, so it is editable, combine, merge layers, and now that basically merge layers welds that together in that way. So those are what all of your features are on the combined. So after that, you have attach. Now, if I were going to send this over to my Cricut and I hit make, it's going to show up like this on my mat. If I want it to show up in this exact pattern, I want it to cut where the circle's up and the heart is down and they are in the same color, and I hit attach. Now it's going to cut like that. You do not want to use attach if you're using two different colors, and I'll show you why. If this were red and this were blue and I hit attach, now they're both red. So if you want it to cut on the mat like this, the best way to do that is to add in like another thing here, like a circle, right? Put it here, duplicate it, and lay them on top of each other. Move it a line, okay? Grab one of them and attach it to the blue. Grab the other one and attach it to the red. And now you can, when you go and you line these up, you would line up that dot to make sure everything's perfect. Okay? I hope that made sense. That was like a quick little tidbit. So that is what attach is. It's so that if they're the same color and you want them to cut in the exact position, that's how you would do it. Now, flatten, again, we already went over, is going to be your print then cut. So when I go to hit make, it's going to be a print and cut page. It's going to print in those colors. So if you wanted to do a different color, you can do that here. Now, I'm going to show you something else that you can do within here. When you're in print then cut, it does have the color over on the side, so you can definitely change the color, but you can also do patterns. So I went just this little drop down, I changed to pattern, and then you can add in a pattern. So that is something that is cool with print then cut. There is that. Now contour. What is contour? We need something with a little more layers for contour. So let's go into here. All right, we are going to pick this out. So I'm going to make this way smaller. Let's make it like 6. All right. Contour is great if you have a black and white image, and I'm going to show you real quick how you can utilize this. But contour, basically, you can hide pieces of your layer. So now it's just one big black dot. If you wanted this to be a colored image and it's this black and white, you can duplicate, right? And we can contour as we go. So you would contour different pieces. So I'd go like this, hide all contours. So now I'm in here and I'm hiding contours, right? So I want just those ears. So I'm going to click on the ear. I'm working on this little side panel, and there's the other ear, okay? So now I have these 2 ears that fit in here, and I can change this color to brown. And then as you work, right, you would just duplicate, contour, I'd uncontour the ears, I'd grab the sunglasses, and I would change those to purple. And you can do this with every single layer. So now we have all of these pieces and you made a layered SVG. Now that we have all these layers, you can go over to color sync, and let's say I wanted the face to be the same color as the ears. I can drag that up. I just clicked and dragged. Okay. Then when you go to make, all of your colors are going to be on separate mats. I do want the sunglasses over to the side. You can move things around. And if you highlight over everything, you can also move them to different mats just by clicking on it, and it'll move it over. That's if you wanted to maybe cut a color like half on top, half on bottom. Okay. Now, when you hit continue, it's going to link up to your Cricut, and then it's going to ask you to pick a material. Now, I have my favorites here that are bookmarked. You can go to browse all materials and you can bookmark off on the side. Okay. And you can also change your pressure in here. So for example, let's say you were working with glitter cardstock, you can hit material settings down here in the bottom, and you can search for it here. I thought it would pop it up. It doesn't. So you can search for your different stuff. So let's say fusible fabric, and you can edit this, right? You can change the blade. You can change how many times it cuts on some of them. And you can also change your pressure. So that is just one thing that you can do. Now I'm going to hit medium cardstock here. You can change your pressure here, more or less. You can remember the material settings to have it just stick with that. Let's see if I went to craft foam. If there's an optional tool, it will let you change it here. Okay. And then you would load and unload your mat. Now for some materials on older machines, the original maker and the Airs, you can toggle on and off of fast mode. So they do have that as an option. And then you would load in your material and hit your C button to let it start cutting. So that is how you go through, and it'll go through every single mat for you as you load and unload, and you can change materials in between cuts. So we still have more to go through on the side. I kind of got distracted. So now over here we have phrases. Again, these are just SVG files that you can use. Editable images. You can change the names on these, which are nice. You can add it to the canvas, and then you can change the love basically as a text, and you just pop in and you could say like, you know, nurse, and it'll change it for you. So that's just what an editable image is, and you still have to resize it down and stuff. So that's what editable images are. Uploaded images are images that you have made outside or bought outside on Etsy or gotten like from my website, and you would hit upload image. They changed this. Browse, and then right, this is one I just got off of Creative Fabrica for a project I'm doing for them. I would hit upload, save, upload, and here we go. If it's a print and cut image, so I'll show you a print and cut image, right? So here's a PNG version. Hold on. Okay, so let's say we have one of these like stained glass, right? I would hit open and then continue. These are really pretty. And now what I can do is I can erase the background, which like that, which I don't want to do. You can crop it in here. Okay, preview single layer. That's not what you want. Reduce colors is exactly going to do that. It's going to reduce the amount of colors on here. See, we don't want that. Unmodified, remove background is going to remove the background. It's probably going to just leave you the rows. Yep. We are going to restore there. Revert. Okay. And that's all your images. That's all your things that you can do here. All right, so this is a pretty complex thing. You're gonna hit apply and continue. And then here is our converter, right? Creates up to 9 layers. I was wondering where this was. I probably have way too many colors on this, but I'm gonna hit continue. Let's check it out. I definitely think I have way too many layers here. Layers, let's do 9. Yeah, we're gonna have to play around with this in a different video. But that is your layers there. That's how you add up a PNG. And last is monogram. They have lots of different monogram styles that you can edit. So for example, if I grab this, add to canvas, you would just do initials up here, add to canvas, and here is your monogram. So those are all the features in Cricut Design Space. I feel like I hit everything. Thank you so much for joining me on this Cricut deep dive. I hope you learned something, and if I missed something, or if you want to see something taken to the next level, maybe even looked at further and further, please let me know in the comments. That way I can make a new video for that. If you are new here and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider. I would love to have you in the craft community that I have grown. Don't forget to like this video. It helps me so much, and I hope you learned something from it. And share this with one of your Cricut crafty friends who is just learning Design Space or maybe didn't know all of these different features that it has. Now I have Cricut Access for the next 30 days, so I will be trying out as many features as I can. I probably will be canceling it because I still turn to Studio or to Inkscape for all of my designs, but it will be fun to play with it for the next month and see what they have to offer. I will see you soon in my craft room, and stay crafty.